Maybe somebody know me, maybe not. It's okay. My name is Denis. I'm software engineer at Lyft, United States, and also I'm Google developer expert, like 3 years already. Android, IoT, and maybe Google Pay. Still not sure about that. I have some questions for you. My first question: who's speaking while I'm speaking? How many iOS developers here? Nice, thank you. Thank you. You will enjoy more than others my talk, yeah. So, right choice. Another question, who can read Kotlin code on the slides easily? Okay, I don't have Kotlin code on the slides, no problem. So, who's know what this means? How many? Yeah, nice. Thank you. Thank you that for your listening. We have a podcast, Russian-speaking podcast about Android. Oh, my last question. How many people don't understand Russian? Nice. I got a cool story about two of you. My friend Kirill lives in Stockholm, and he part of GDG Stockholm. And when he come to the meetup, some presenter on the stage asking, "Hey, Kirill, are you here?" Okay, we start speaking English. Otherwise, we speak Swedish. So yeah, the same. Thank you for attending my talk. But if you want to learn Russian, consider to listen our podcast about Android development. Bi-weekly, we make some cool stuff and all the news. So congratulations with 10 years of Android, first of all, and the ecosystem is so huge. Yeah, let's give applause to Google team. They did a great job, 2 billion devices, and that's really awesome for us that we can ship application to Play Store, and possibly, if fortune on our side, we can get like 2 billion downloads. And we will talk about how to make your app discoverable in the ecosystem. So first thing, we start from unknown stuff. For me, it was not that popular. Firebase App Indexing. Who's familiar with Firebase App Indexing? Who's heard about that? Yeah. But this is like one of the major parts to make your app discoverable for user. If you add support of Firebase App Indexing in your app will be in a in-app tab in a Chrome. Can you imagine? Yeah, in the search results. Now it's not that discoverable, but I hope in the future it will be moved to the first screen, and the results from your app will be appeared here, and not just result. When user click on the result from your app, it will open like a deep link to some screen of your app, not just launch your app from scratch. So really useful. To implement that, you have to associate your pages of the app with the web pages. It's like deep linking. You need to create content provider that will provide all the indexable content of your app. When ecosystem of Firebase App Indexing will grab all information about all apps and make the index to search for. And you can instantiate update of this index manually from your app. So this is how they look like results of the search. Keep in mind, we will back a bit later. App shortcuts, yeah, kind of neat feature in Android, and when it's like 3D touch in iOS, yep. When you long tap on a icon since Android Oreo, or maybe no cut, I didn't remember, you can add your custom actions. And there's 3 types of custom actions. The first type is the static actions. You can declare inside your manifest.xml some static actions like search, voice search, but you also can add some specific for particular user search results like call mom or send photo to my wife that I'm okay right now on the stage in Belarus. And also, there's a third type of shortcuts. It's on the bottom of the screen, pinned shortcuts. So your app can create from app and from app itself, create the shortcut and put it on a launcher screen. Sometimes it can be useful. For example, on the road to the home, you can create shortcut and just one click and your navigator following you to the home. and there's a links how to do that. Share menu, yeah, it's a classic one. Everybody should know, maybe not you. Yeah, I do. You do? Nice. So yeah, it's from, I think, from the first versions of Android. And it's to implement your app to support share intent. It's super easy. You have to provide like MIME type of what kind of files are you supporting and what type of action are you supporting. So there is a list of actions like edit application, image, open image, send somewhere, insert, and so on and so on. You can implement any of them and your app will react when somebody want to share image or send SMS, for example. And also there's since Android NuCat, there's a direct share. It's kind of more personalized share when your messenger app or social app can provide some contacts. So it's like one click shorter when user click on the name instead of open the app, find the name, and confirm that he want to send right to this contact. And you have to just implement sample chooser target service inside your app, and you will provide like 4 most popular users. Well, this guy's still talking during my talk. Not good, not good. Widgets. Yeah, widgets also is like ancient stuff. It's you stole widgets in iOS like 2 versions. No, not you personally. Yeah, definitely. So widgets in launcher. Yeah, it's a common thing, and somebody of you, I think, forgot about that and didn't add it to your app. But trust me, many users use widgets and really love to use it. It's really useful. So don't forget about it and support it. And if you implement widgets in a modern world, keep in mind that there's those mods in Android KitKat or Marshmallow, and use Work Manager as the latest job scheduler wrapper to push updates to your widgets to overcome all stuff related to those mods. And since Android Oreo, there's neat addition. User can find your widget just by long clicking on your app icon and don't have to go to the list of whole widgets of all applications in the phone. And since Android Oreo, again, you can add widget to your launcher screen just programmatically inside from your code base. There's the links how to do it. But have you ever think about add your widget inside, have any widget inside your app? Because launcher, it's just a regular app. There is nothing special. So yeah, it's a good idea to consider. You can add any widget inside your app. So like do like widget layout in your app. Why not? Yeah, so like you can add any music app. If you see the latest update by Google Maps, now Google Maps can show you music player, any music player installed on your phone during your navigation. It implemented in a different way, not using widgets, but it's one of the ways to implement it. And it's really useful. But it looks like hack around. It's not that like native to implement widgets inside the app, and Google start considering maybe we have to provide for developers some kind of tools that give them ability to integrate their apps in other apps like UI. And here's comes to the stage slices. Yeah, and I'm proud that Lyft, one of the apps that supported it. To be honest, it's not me, it's my colleague Mark Way who's implemented that. I don't know, it's illegal to say his name there. Erase it from the record. So at Lyft, yeah, we're supporting it. And what is that? In search, when you tap something, there can be interactive UI, right in the search result of Google and any other app, theoretically also, not just in only in a Google search. And your app can provide this UI. It's predefined UI. This UI is not as widgets. It's not your custom layout. There's a different kind of standard UI that can be colored in theme of app that will use this UI. So, but it's pretty interactive. You can make different kind of layouts, even interactive with like slider or something that will react to the user touches and send it to your app, and way back will be updated from your app. And how it works underneath, it's app indexing. Yeah, have you remember on the first slide there was Firebase App Indexing, so you have to implement indexing of your search results. For example, for Lyft, it's possible rights that we can provide for user, and it will be shared. Like if user type, hey, I want to write to home, we will show him right in the UI of Lyft inside Google search. There's a code lab, there's a article, there's official documentation, and it will be announced soon this month, or maybe next month, we suppose so, to be not a beta but release, and the users start using it. Really nice. And all the slides should be available, so I hope all the links will be visible and clickable for you a bit later. And app actions, it's a part of initiative same as slices, but app actions a bit simpler. In slices there's a custom UI, there's some buttons, interactive elements. Here's just a click. When you in launcher and start writing name of the app, but sometimes you don't want to open the app and search some result, click on this result and do some action. All you need is just do some action, like start favorite playlist on Spotify or something like that. So why not just to type this and start this? I think it will be working using Firebase indexing also, but still now it's oh, there's also search results in a text markup, so really useful. Still under developer preview, and we don't have idea how to implement it right now, unfortunately. Browser action. You may ask me, what the hell is browser action? If you check the change log of latest Android support library revision 2.2800 Alpha 1 that was announced this May, you will see browser action provides a protocol to app developers to launch consistent but customized context menu for URLs. What? I have no idea. Just to let you know that sometimes it will be announced officially and it's now in the change log. I don't know, and Googlers don't answer like what is that and when it will be available. So something like app actions but for browser links. But let's go back to the current situation. It was from future. Right now, yeah, you can open the contact list. Sorry, it's not from stock Android, it's from my Samsung. And in the contact book there will be different applications like WhatsApp, Duo, Telegram, Viber, and other actions for this contact. You can add your own action if you know the user phone, and you can add your action of your app inside any phone number to contact list really easily. All you have to do, no, it's actually not that easy. You have to implement account manager. You know, the stuff when Google account, Telegram account, and all the stuff keep it in your phone. You have to go through the contact list that's stored in your contact provider using all this old stuff called cursor, you know, so you have to implement the cursor loader and all this stuff. You can add additional record with the name of the existing user and link it with existing contact. That's how it works. And inside this record, there will be pending intent that will launch your app. There's a link, a sample. It's not that trivial, and there's a lot of hackarounds to implement that, but many apps use it and it's useful. Now let's go to Firebase stuff and talk about more Firebase stuff. So I think most of you use Firebase pushes to push some stuff to user to show something, and you can implement some server logic definitely on your server knowledge about the user, but you also can use standard mechanism if you small startup and you just implemented MVP. So sometimes you don't have your powerful server side. And you can use Firebase for this usage. You can provide like version name of your app. You can provide some information about audience if you implemented Firebase Analytics inside your app, then Firebase knows much more about your user, and you can implement like not just the device version and application version, but which country user from, which gender user, and many more specific parameters. And you can get results about interaction, how many pushes was opened, how many was declined. Really useful. But now in Firebase there is even more, not just the pushes. You can show for user some marketing campaigns during app usage. So user playing in a game or browsing your app, and now you can show banner with some like discount. Hey, if you buy today something, and you then have to implement your own UI, create your own server to show these messages and provide the conditions. You can just use Firebase In-App messages. Kind of useful stuff. And there's a simple message that will appear like image and title and body, and it will be, these rules will be synced each day, and if you add something on the next day, it will appear for user if you provide some specific rules when it should appear. For small companies, really useful. Consider this. It was added like, I think, a couple months ago. Pretty new. But there's a predefined UI. You cannot show your absolutely custom UI. Keep in mind. If you onboard user, there's a new user in your app, and they want to start using your app, you may ask to register in your service, but registering, you know, it's boring to type email, confirm email or phone. So way much easier because we are in a Google ecosystem on Android. So the first thing that we have to implement, not a Facebook. First thing that you have to implement is Google. And to implement Google sign-in is really simple. Just add one button, send a token to Google, receive the token from Google, use it on your server side. Pretty simple, just one link to you. But obviously you want to implement all other social networks. And sometimes it's kind of boring stuff to add Facebook SDK, Twitter SDK, I don't know, Instagram SDK, if Instagram have authentication, Google SDK, and all this stuff. Implement your own SMS authentication. You have to write wrapper. Sometimes for startup, it's way much easier to use solution that already implemented. So the Firebase, Firebase Authentication library, that's all you need. There's two versions. The first version is have predefined UI, like this, and the second a bit customizable. The second version is just a library that you can tie it with your own UI. So keep in mind there's Google, Facebook, Twitter, GitHub, email, is SMS, and also I find for you a sample with Instagram, Line, Kakao. It's social network in China. Yeah. I'm not sure it's still alive, but there's a custom provider. You can. There is also GitHub with Contact authentication, and maybe other stuff I didn't find. So you can search GitHub if you want to add something more to your Firebase. Let's breathe out. Exhale, inhale, and instant apps. Instant apps. Who's know what is instant app? Okay, whoever clicked on some link and it launched as instant app on their phone? Yeah, not too many. But I hope it will be rolled out more. It actually renamed. Now it's not instant app, it's a Google Play Instant, because it's not just the apps, it's also games. That's why they renamed to Google Play, and it didn't work without Google Play services, so kind of logical renaming. And how it works, I think you know, you click on a link and your app launched without installation. You don't have to go to market and install it. It will just launch as web page. Really useful. Constraints that we have, you have to add deep links. The limit of your APK is 4 MB, and for beta that maybe will be extended in the closer future is 10 MB, but still not sure about that. Consider to be 4 MB, because for user, can you imagine you tap on link on 3G in subway station and it's like trying to download 10 MB. Well, even 4 MB, it's huge. But in modern world, even web pages can be sized up to 40 megabytes or something. So, yeah. I hope everybody have unlimited traffic on their mobile phones. App bundle. Talking about traffic of your mobile phones. Google think about you and care about users and trying to make app size smaller, and it's hard to ask developers to do not use PNG and use always vector drawables. Sometimes we have to add some native libraries, and for each user device architecture you have to compile it to its architecture. So it's like 5 or 4 different same libraries for different app architectures, processor architectures. So you want to deliver for users. So for example, on your phone you have just one processor architecture definitely and one resolution. So you don't need to download images for all resolutions. And with App Bundle, you give Google a key to resign your app. Google repack your app, removing all the unnecessary stuff that don't need for particular user, and send to this user when he tap download on Google Play just resources and native libraries that needed for this user. The downside, you have to provide sign-in key to Google. Maybe politics of your company do not allow you to do that, but it depends. And this is one part of App Bundle that was announced this I/O. The second part is dynamic delivery. So we've seen the Instant App. It's like it's like a demo version of your app, some short part of your app, and it will be launched and will not work as standalone app. It will disappear from device when you remove it from the launcher. But what about your app? If, for example, you are a banking app and your user can scan your card, your credit card, using some third-party library like Card.io. Card.io usually weight up to 4, maybe 10 megabytes. And if you want to add functionality of scanning cards, you have to put inside your app like 10 additional megabytes. Not all of your users will reach this screen ever, and they don't need to download each time 10 megabytes. So it's useful to download this part of your app later when user reach this part of the state. So dynamic delivery stands right for this case. And it's still under heavy development, so it's still in beta, but you can make your app modular and download these models during the app flow of usage. Depends on where a user right now inside your app. Kind of useful, right? Dreaming about that in iOS. No? Yeah, because Facebook's like 300 megabytes and nobody cares. Yeah. Yeah, rich motherfuckers. So, Web APK. Web APK. What the hell is Web APK is? It's a good question. Have you heard about AMP? No, not AMP. PWA. Progressive Web Apps. Do you know what it is? Nice. From Web World, right? Yeah. So, Progressive Web Apps, it's a web services, it's a web pages that have some logic that's running offline in your browser. So it's like stored on your phone and can run offline. So like, for example, when you open Google Doc, and Google Doc can work without internet connection, that's because there's a service that works offline using this technology. And why not to make this background offline service that can run offline as APK? So you can add manifest, and you even can add intents that will be parsed and used by your web application. So for user, this application is like a regular application on the phone, but underneath it's a web application. So for web guys, really useful stuff. And you can add like button install this application on the phone, and all user have to do is just to click, and it appears on the desktop, and it will be in a list of application as regular application with the size, how many memory it used, how many downloaded data. So user didn't see any difference, but it installed not from Google Play, it installed just from browser and working using Chrome. Let's talk about money a bit. So there's two different kind of payments in an Android ecosystem. The first thing, if you want to charge user, you can get money for feature of your app or for additional like premium package or maybe for subscription to your app using billing library. Maybe you've seen, you definitely seen this a lot, like, hey, if you want to buy some gold in your app, in your game, just give me some money. And as developer, you will be charged 30%, about 30% per each transaction, and you have to keep in mind that it's kind of valuable thing, and same for subscription. But if you sell some goods using your app, it's like if your app is just a wrapper for some offline shop or something like that, or you Amazon or kind of like that, you don't have to pay 30% for transaction because you go with Android. Now it's called Google Pay, and you can implement inside your app. And when user tap and pay with Google Pay, not with billing library in-app purchases, you don't give Google 30% of your purchase. But you cannot sell in-game goods, in-game transactions, or subscribe for your software service using Google Pay SDK and Google Pay. You have to do it with in-app purchases. That's how it works. Let's go beyond Android, because we just talked about Android applications, Android phones, but Android ecosystem is not only phones itself. There's a Chromecast, right? Google Cast. It's now just not a Chromecast, it's just a cast. So it's a small dongle inside the HDMI, or maybe it's a phone, or maybe it's some additional receiver who support cast compatible. What can you do? You can create a sender app on your phone again that will send some images, remote, or maybe even from device, or video or audio stream. Really useful if you want. And there was SDK for games, but now it's deprecated. Now you cannot create a game for cast devices, unfortunately. And you can create a cast receiver app inside this dongle. It will be HTML app, and why you have to do that? If you want to show, for example, your own ads, or you want to make some customizable UI. So pretty useful if you kind of media content app or service. Android TV. It's also cast compatible, but it is even more. You can install any regular APK on your TV, but regular APK looks ugly on a phone, on a huge TV screen. So you not just only have to check how it looks on the big screen, but also you have to check that everything works with the remote controller, because TV screens are not touchable in most cases. I think kids who born after 2010 cannot imagine, like, what? I cannot touch on a TV? It's not sensor? How come? Everything should be sensor. But yeah, TV is not that sensor. Another cool thing about TV, there's additional ways to provide content to your user and show that, make your app more reachable by user. There's two additional sections, what's next, and you can put your own media content here, and another section is channels. So you have to implement your content provider that will provide media content that will appear on the main screen of TV, of user TV screen. So again, it's really good to know, and don't forget to implement if you, for example, Netflix or maybe some other service like Viki, Rakuten. Yep, so this is about Android TV. Also, there was, and there still exists, Wear, Android Wearable OS, and it's not that hyped as iPhone watches, but you even maybe think it's dead, because like last couple of years, maybe last year, there was nothing about it. But if you start reading the latest articles about Wear OS, you will find that this fall, more than 3 different watches right now on the market. If you go to the fashion store, to any brand, you will find that any watch brand have their own Android device. This is the first thing that you have to consider. Many people who are far from away of geeky world buying this wear because it looks cool. This is the first thing. The second thing to consider is Wear OS was redesigned, and the redesign was announced on IFA this September. And the latest and the most important part about the future of Wear OS, the Snapdragon 3100 was announced this September with additional it's a special processor for wearable devices with special mode which promises that will work around 1 or 2 weeks on your wrist. Way much better than regular watches. And new watches in October should be coming. It's going to be announced soon. So what you can do with Wear OS if it's still not dead and there's some users on this market? So you can just show your regular application. You don't have to implement anything. Nice. You don't have to implement anything. Just show notifications as you do on the phone. It will be mirrored to your watches. Pretty nice. I'm a lazy developer. I don't want to spend some time to support watches. But if you want to do that, you can create separate application that will live in their own world and even do not synchronize with your phone at all. But if you want, you can synchronize with your phone. But it have access to internet from the watches and can implement any logic right on the watches. And also you can create a branded watch face. So let's go one by one. So notifications. You can implement just regular notifications, or if you are a careful developer and you care about your users, you can add wearable extender, and the wearable extender inside the notification compat class. You can add, for example, predefined answers or voice input and make your user happier. If you want to create your watch faces, there's millions of watch faces, so be careful. It's hard to make it discoverable, but there is still a chance because most of them are super ugly shit. Yeah. And Wear OS app, you can create, as I said, separate application that will work on the watches. Google Assistant. As I remember, the next talk right after me about the Google Assistant, so don't miss it and definitely join it, and you will learn way more than I've just talked right now. But the thing that you should consider is, yeah, we talked with you about actions on Google and about, not the actions on Google, but Google slices. So slices will be appeared in Assistant soon, and this is nice. But you can create actions on Google. What's actually actions on Google? Actions on Google, it's like your own voice application that will launched right from your voice assistant. So you say like, hey, Google Assistant, I want to make, can you make some coffee? And he said, yeah, you have some coffee maker in your house, want to use its action on Google, and it will be launched. Pretty useful. Again, and it's not just about phone, it's also about Wear, it's about car and your home assistant even without any UI. And that's it about ecosystem of Android and all the related to Google services right now, but it's only beginning. Trust me, in next years you will see way much more and all over the world. But keep in mind, 2 billion users wait and wanna see your app, so you have to make it more discoverable. Thank you.